War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us, whether you're watching live or on the replay. We appreciate you hanging out with us, spending a few minutes with us. However we can get you, we appreciate you being in here and just hanging out with us on this holiday season. It's what? 4 days, 5 days to Christmas, however you want to count that down. So, real quick aside here, I used to always count down to Christmas Eve as Christmas because I kind of counted it as one big happy day. I know it's 2 different days, but for me, it was like all the same thing. The excitement was there. So for me, it's always weird to say Christmas is actually Christmas Day because I count it as all one thing. Anyway, that's weird. That just popped into my head. I see the lights behind me on the screen. It's Christmas time. I love Christmas, so I'm super happy. I hope you guys are having a great holiday season this far, and I hope you're excited about what you might be getting under the stockings under the tree. Might be Auburn wise. We might have to do like a Auburn share thing on social media or here on a live stream or something like that about what you got for Christmas. That might be something that we do. Anyway, I've really tangented here already. We haven't even gotten like 5 minutes into the show here. I've already taken 2 tangents. On tonight's live stream, we're going to mainly be discussing some Auburn basketball. It is technically week 6. Auburn has coming off of victories over North Alabama and a very thrilling one against St. Louis. We're going to talk about that. As always, when we get together, we might bounce to some other things, but that is going to be our central focus for tonight on this live stream. We want to hear from you. As you come into the stream, most of you know the drill already. Do a couple things for me. If you'd like this type of content, please smash that like button. And if you can, share it out on social media. Let people know that we're here. They can join in on the fun as well. It's more the merrier here. Continuing to grow our little family within the Auburn family. And we'll talk about some ways you can help support this content at the end of the show, as well as maybe towards the end, we'll discuss some scheduling stuff upcoming for the holiday season, what you can expect from us here on this channel in terms of content, because it's going to get a little crazy, a little busy. Let's say hello to everyone who's here. We got Russell is here. Thanks for being here, buddy. Thumbs up for the E2C. Thank you so much for reminding everybody. Excited about the Birmingham Bowl as well. We're probably going to start talking about some Birmingham Bowl stuff now that signing day is finally officially done. Now that Bo decision has been rendered and all that kind of stuff, and that's kind of moved on. I did a video about that today if you'd like to discuss that or if you'd like to see my thoughts on that. One important thought that I forgot to bring up in there that someone brought up in the comments already. It's an excellent point for why Bo chose to go where he did, but we won't really delve into that much here. Also, we can hit any number of those things, but mainly we're going to open on basketball tonight. Who else is here? Corey, good to see you from Hoover. Dusty is into the NFL tonight. Daniel Carlson about to knock another game winner. How did it go? I mean, maybe you already said it. There it is, clutch. By the way, Dusty and Corey are members of our booster club, and Dusty is also a channel member here. Thank you guys for your support. Big Simp in the house. Let's see who else is here already. We got Devin. Thank you, Devin, from Texas. Thanks for being here and for being a booster club member. Kevin Kelly as well. Merry Christmas to you. Neil White. We got tons of the regulars in here in the house. Great to see all of you so much. And I agree. Christmas came early with Thanos. You know, if I was smart, I actually have a Thanos gauntlet. I should have. I'll pull it out. Here's the thing is I have this, and you guys can't see this, interesting setup to pull all this stuff off in the middle of my office. I wish it was more free so that I could like reach over here. It's pretty far away and grab my Thanos, my props, so to speak. So we can have that as part of the show here tonight. Russell, I think we connected. You had asked a question in chat about support and stuff like that. I think I connected with you. Just to clarify, and if you guys will just bear with me for a second so I can clarify for him. Yes, so if you're interested in supporting our content, check out links in the description. I know I traditionally do it at the end of the show, but I want to kind of, since he asked about it. There's the Booster Club here on Patreon, channel memberships here, but you can also do one-time donations on PayPal. It doesn't get you the perks and things like that, but of course, you know, if you decide to do something through PayPal, we'll obviously find ways to kind of give you a little something, I guess. We'll talk. We'll figure out some ways. But those options are there for you. There's also TeePublic and stuff like that. If you need further clarification on that, please do let me know. I'd be happy to help you in any way that I can. All right. Let's get to the topic at hand, because there's more than just these 2 games to talk about. with Auburn basketball. There's Bruce Pearl. There's 2 wins for 2 brand new head coaches in Wes Flanigan, because we didn't get to really talk about that a whole lot last week because there was so much going on with recruiting and all that kind of stuff, and rest of the stuff of the football program that's been kind of bouncing around over the last couple of weeks. But also Stephen Pearl got his first win as a head coach. Both are 1-0, winningest, tied for the winningest percentage in Auburn basketball coaching history. Probably misquoting that there. There's probably some other random coach who's like 1-0 that we have forgotten, but who knows at this point. Somebody do the research. Clint, that sounds like something right up your alley. So with that being said, let's talk about this week. Corey says, I didn't know St. Louis had a basketball team, but on the other hand, who would have thought a toothpaste company would have a basketball team? First of all, is there a St. Louis toothpaste company? I had no clue. Second of all, what is a Billiken? Third of all, you can tell they're not used to trash talking, because boy, were their fans whining about getting the Auburn Twitter sphere going after them after the game. It's like they think they're the only ones that we've ever picked on, but that's not the truth. Colgate. Now, question. This is going to make me sound really dumb, and this is probably going to make some people unsubscribe. And I understand. I would unsubscribe too, probably, if I did that, if I said something stupid like this. Is St. Louis actually in St. Louis, or is it actually, I thought this was a team in Louisiana, but just called St. Louis. I could be wrong. And I have probably egg all over my face for even asking that question, but that's what you get here. Honesty, even if it's stupid honesty. St. Louis has a point guard. Their point guard's a pretty good basketball player. Yes, he is. And he is the one, if I'm trying to pull up the stat box here at the same time as we're discussing this. Anybody remember his name offhand? Because I think he's the one, Chapman. I think he's the one that fouled out. When he did, that was crucial, if that's who we're talking about. Hey, Russell, glad that was the info you were looking for. Please do, sir. If you got any more questions, you can reach out, like direct messages, Facebook, Twitter, all that kind of stuff. We will answer over there if you need any more questions about things answered. Neil, will we ever talk about Bo going to Oregon? Sorry, not trying to change the subject. I think that is the best fit for him. Wish him well. Listen, we can obviously maybe towards the end, if there's some time, discuss some of that. But there's this interesting thing going around with the Auburn fan base where not even a certain group, I shouldn't say that. There's a desire to see this not be talked about, which is coming from some interesting areas. I know I'm not going to get into it. It doesn't matter. We can certainly find some time to talk about that later on, but basketball is really what I want to focus on at this point. Big Simp says rebounding, a great concern. I wouldn't call it a great concern, Big Simp, but for the record here, let's go ahead and bring this up. They were losing the rebound game throughout most of the game. However, that being Auburn, they came roaring back and won the rebound battle 40-50. Defensive rebounds 30-34, offensive rebounds 10-16, all in the favor of the Auburn Tigers. So I hear you that it's a little bit, it was scary at the time, but that happens with most teams, right? I'm not super worried about rebounds for us long term. Will we have an off night? We certainly did in this one to start off with, but then you've got Jabari Smith with 10 rebounds for his double-double. You got 8 rebounds from Kessler, 5 from Cambridge, 4 from Berman. Look at Lord Berman just covering up the stat sheet. See, not a lot of them, but he covers it up with a lot of stats on covering every different angle. 4 from Cardwell. They really, they got caught in a situation where there's a team that's really good. It's a really good program, and it kind of got them off guard. It was the first night back with Bruce Pearl, so there's the emotions of that. And I think what you find a lot of times in college basketball is a lot of these smaller schools, Murray State, who's our next opponent, thank goodness it's at Auburn. Not many teams go into Murray State and beat them on their home court. Even some of the best teams out there, they are notorious for being an incredible a home arena advantage. Auburn is as well, so it's probably not going to bode well for I was going to think of their Murray State Racers. It's not going to bode well for them in the next game. But I think there's a case of where this is a team that plays really well at home, the emotions of the game, things kind of got out of hand for a little bit, got a little bit scary there, double-digit lead that they had on us, but the talent, again, overcomes anything that they can do. Uh, wanting to talk hockey, will you be putting together some hokey videos or hockey videos as well? Listen, so here's my goal, Corey, and I know you're kind of being funny with this, and I know it would make a lot of people happy here to be talking hockey, especially. I am about all things Auburn, and we, as the contributors of this network, you hear a lot of them on our podcast. You see some of them sometimes here on the YouTube channel with me. That's the focus of this network. Is while we're not going to shy away from this fact of that football, basketball, and to some degree baseball and softball really are kings and queens and whatever you want to label them. They're the things that drive this interest of Auburn. But there's so much deeper levels of that I would love someday for us to be able to focus on that. But you can't shy away that there's not a humongous interest there. So you can't devote a lot of, I shouldn't say a lot, a concentrated amount on force feeding you guys this stuff. You know how long it took us to have an equestrian podcast? Because there wasn't much interest for anybody to do it. But finally, when we did that, we just said, no, it's time. We're gonna make equestrian a regular part of our content. So maybe one day someone wants to do it, I'll put you on our podcast network. I'm always up for it. If it's orange and blue, what's orange? Orange and blue, it's what we do. Berman is a baller. Leor, I think it's Leor, is one of the stories that you love about college basketball. A walk-on, and I believe he's now a scholarship player. I could be wrong about that. Maybe not. I think I saw today he's actually still technically a walk-on. You love those stories because this is a guy that wasn't expected to play a lot, but has spent his time being a contributing factor, part of this program, has now earned his right to play. And when he gets out there, is not just a space filler, is not just a time filler. He is a guy that contributes and factors in the game in more than one area. Can he shoot? Yes. But can he play defense? Yes. But can he rebound? Yes. And that is why Laura Berman is getting some time. Now, Allen Flanigan's coming back at some point. So what happens to his playing time? Naturally, it'll probably decrease, but he has definitely given Bruce Pearl and the other head coach, technically head coaches, Wes Flanigan and Stephen Pearl, some things to chew on. And how much time can you afford to take away from Laura Berman? If I'm head coach Bruce Pearl, I'm trying to find ways to reward and put him in there because he has made a difference. Clint talking hockey jerseys would be amazing. You guys reach out. I mean, I talk to him a lot, so if I remember, I'll say it. But if reach out to him and say, "Hey, come on the podcast and talk hockey jerseys or Auburn hockey uniforms and stuff like that," we'll always do it. We've got a full side conversation there. You completely ignore the basketball talk. Hey, that's fine. This is what this is about. Just connecting about Auburn stuff. So if y'all want to connect about Auburn hockey stuff here, I'm all for that. But we're gonna keep talking basketball for the time being. So I know the main thing about this week for basketball was the St. Louis game. It was the thriller late night game. Bruce Pearl's back. It had all the storylines and the headlines that you want out of that type of event there. What gets lost in all this is the North Alabama game where they faced a little bit of adversity to start off with. I think they were only up by 3 at halftime. Coach Stephen Pearl must have gave them an incredible halftime speech because they came out and just annihilated North Alabama and never really looked back. And I just realized earlier I was looking at the stats for the North Alabama game when I was quoting those rebounds and stuff. So apologies for that in advance. That's what happens when you've got too many tabs up all at the same time. We can talk about, let me see. Let me pull up. That's the incorrect one too. Again, Kyle. I want to make sure I pull up the correct ones because I think it is important for us to analyze the rebounding thing when we come back to that. But 70-44, Auburn gets the win over North Alabama. They come back and really just annihilate them in the second half. Yeah, after only being up by a few. in the first half. And I think what you're seeing is this team responding to adversity, whether it's losing Coach Pearl for a game, having two different head coaches. But you also see a lot of good things about this, right? That it's next man up mentality, not just player wise, but coaching wise. They're all ready to rise to the occasion and be able to, be able to not let there be a lot of missteps in what happens with this basketball program. The talent is there to kind of mask some of those issues that are having sometimes, whether it be the rebounding or things like that. But they're just Auburn has a wealth and a plethora of talent that we haven't had quite some time as far as basketball. Let me go back to the St. Louis stats here and actually give you the correct overall stats. And I'm glad that I caught myself on that. So total rebounds. Yes, there is the problem right there. 27 to 46. So when you were asking earlier if there's going to be a problem, is that something we should be worried about, Big Simp? I would still maintain that one game is not something really to worry about. But, it is showing that there is a little bit of a weakness there. What concerns me the most, and there's been better times about Auburn basketball this season, is free throws. When I was a regular on our Inside the Jungle podcast, you can actually probably hear another one tomorrow if I get their audio tonight to break down last game and talk about the next game with Gray and Chris Oldenburg. They'll talk a lot about how I used to lament over free throws. If you looked in the St. Louis game, 67%, that ain't going to cut it. I know that for a lot of you sounds like a good percentage. That's not. Honestly, it should be no lower than 80%, but that's just me. I'm a stickler for free throws. That's the thing that, rebounding is mainly about effort and positioning. And sometimes you pick the wrong position. There's a little bit of, I won't say luck, but gamesmanship to rebounding. Free throws, yeah, you deal with the crowd noise and stuff, but it's just you in the basket. It's you blocking everything out. You have got to focus on those free throws and do a better job at them. They had 69% in the North Alabama game versus 67% free throw wise. Not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. Kyle, do you think Pearl Jr. will stick around and take over when Pops retires? Well, what makes you think that he's retiring? In my perfect little Auburn world, Bruce Pearl decides one day that he's done, and hopefully that's 20 years in the future. I don't know. I haven't spoke with Bruce Pearl, but he decides maybe Allen Green's gone off to greener pastures. Not that I don't want him around, just doing something else at that point, and he can slide into an AD position, and we keep that crazy little man around. And yeah, I think it would be a natural progression because I think that. But here's the thing, though, assuming Wes Flanigan doesn't go for another head coaching job, because a lot of people forget that he was previously a head coach before he came here. Why doesn't he deserve the head coaching job? He's an Auburn guy too. And so I think it's one of those situations where you might see a Stephen Pearl go do time at a smaller school as a head coach and come back someday. Yeah. I mean, that could be a likely canary. Personally, I'd like to see Wes get the job before Stephen. It has nothing to do who I think can do a better job. Wes seemed to really appreciate that gesture. Not that Stephen didn't either. It seemed to mean a lot to him, and you got to value that. Clint, there you go. You can capitalize all the hockey things they were asking for you to be discussing. They're having a side conversation in the chat here on YouTube. For those of you that are on Facebook and Twitter, I know sometimes you're missing out on the commentary that we're discussing here. That's why you should come on over here to YouTube to be part of the madness over here. Blake, yes, if we can't make free throws, we won't win in the SEC. We definitely won't win in March. Totally agree with you on free throws. Free throws is where it begins and ends with me. It's free. That's it. Free. Blake's going to get me on my soapbox, and this is not how I wanted to do this night. Free throws. So, yes, rebounding for me is a concern as well. I think the three areas that will kill you in a basketball game: free throws, rebounding, and turnovers. I would probably put turnovers over in second category and rebounding third, but they can kind of be interchangeable depending on what type of team you're playing and stuff like that. Auburn has the talent. Auburn has the size variation where I'm not super concerned about one bad night and rebounding. I am super concerned about less than ideal free throw percentage. And listen, it's not terrible, 67, 69%. 80% is my bare minimum. And you're not going to see me being happy unless that. Turnovers too. Whew, those can be a problem. Actually, I've got my screen down a little lower. I need to roll over here so I can see turnovers. 11 for Auburn, 17 for the Billikens. And you see that's a product of Auburn's great defense against St. Louis that kept them in there. So even though they lost the rebound battle, they were okay in free throws, played great defense, had great turnovers. That's really why Auburn won in that game. And it's hard to beat great talent that's out there on the floor together. My next concern is free throws, but we are actually better. That's not saying much. Yeah, you've been watching this for a while, haven't you, Big Simp? No, actually, I'd say we're leaps and bounds better than we have. It was, I can remember the time not too long ago where it was like a good night for us to be in the 50s. But yeah, you would expect a team that's got a lot of more guards, shorter players to be better at that because everybody associates the big men with not being able to shoot well. But then you've got guys like Walker Kessler and Jabari Smith, whose size doesn't really seem to factor in much into their shooting. A dustbuster. This commentary going on in the background here about hockeys and dustbusters. I can't with you guys. I just can't. I'm trying to put on a show here. Again, I say to you, Twitter and Facebook folks, you're missing the interesting commentary over here every live stream. How good is it to have Bruce Pearl back? Does everybody feel better about NCAA cloud hanging over it? Now, listen, it's the NCAA. They'll probably find something else to hang over Bruce's head because that's what they do. But for now, it should give everybody solace to know that that investigation is officially done. The penalties for that have been leveraged. Now, there will be, you have to get rid of 2 scholarships over the next 4 years that you're on probation. So that lasts. But in terms of that cloud hanging over you, that's done. There's no more recruiting advantages that your opponents have, your rivals have over you, and saying, well, you never know when it's going to come down. It's come down, and guess what? We good. So that for me is just the biggest. And I know that actually happened 2 weeks ago, but now that it's passed and we've had the 2 games without Bruce Pearl, and seeing how the team respond well, the coaches respond well, it's just got to make you feel really, really good about the whole thing. Corey, hey, you guys are good. You guys keep, as long as you're here hanging out, I don't care. We can keep talking hockey stuff. And like I said, one day we'll dedicate something. There's going to be a lot of off weeks in the summer where we can just hit random topics that we might dedicate a hockey night, an Auburn hockey night, just for you all. If you, it's kind of like that. Well, I was going to say the from the movie, if you build it, they will come. If you guys demand it, it will arrive, or whatever way you want to phrase that. Neil, I tend to agree with that. I do not have a favorable opinion of the NCAA. The problem is who's going to do it better. And how do you do it better? And until someone can come up with that model, the NCAA is still going to continue. All right, I have the headphones in. You know what that means is that we can hear from our Booster Club members on Monday nights and E2C Network contributors. And wouldn't you know it, there's one of our Booster Club members. What's up, Dusty?
Good evening. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. Like that hat you got on, buddy.
$3 at a gas station, man.
At a what gas station? Or just what?
Just out here, yeah, in Flomaton, Alabama. It was just
next time I'm rolling through there, I got to stop there and get that one.
If you're rolling through Flomaton, something's wrong.
Well, listen, I've gone through some scarier places in Georgia than little Flomaton, Alabama. So, well, I guess Flomaton, is that right at the border of Florida and Alabama?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I thought I had that right in my head, but sometimes all that stuff gets confused up there. Anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. What's on your mind?
This has been a good week for Auburn, man. I was really impressed with Saturday night. I was just about to start get worried, and good. Bruce is an old school coach, man. I like that technical, and
Oh
you saw
yeah. Yep. Yep.
that's something one of my coaches would have done, because you know how it is. You played basketball.
Yep.
Some of them high school games, man, you got some refs that just don't really know what's going on, and
Yep.
we had that going on Saturday night, and Bruce, as soon as he made that, man, you saw the switch in the team. You saw the attitude change.
Yep. It's funny you say that because I did see that a lot in high school. We had our head coach one time walked in at halftime and said, "All right, here's what's going to happen. I'm walking out here. First excuse I get, I'm getting the technical. I might get two." So, and he would give the assistant coach the what
Yeah.
needs to happen if this happens. And sure enough, it happened more often than not. He'd not just get the one technical, he'd get the two. So yes, there is a certain amount of times that is intentional, and it's the right thing for nothing else, for a change of pace. And Auburn very much needed that against the Billikens because they had the home court advantage. They were firing it for the most part on all cylinders. They were winning the rebound. There were a lot of things flowing in their favor, and so you kind of just need that thing to I guess interrupt the circuit for them. And boy, did it. Now that's not the only thing that happened, but it's what kind of started the whole process there of everybody just kind of like thinking, all right, we can't do this. St. Louis wouldn't have been a bad loss, but it wouldn't have been a good loss either. It's not something that you want on your resume when it's time to be putting seeding up at the end of the season, especially if you've had maybe a conference play where you've been beaten up on each other. So I was really encouraged by what I saw, not just this game, but the last three games. It's just been it's encouraging to see a team not face a little bit of adversity and just fall flat on their face, and not to say that's been happening a lot, but it feel like sometimes that's just the Auburn curse, is a little bit of adversity and we just go right down on our faces. So that was really nice there. Who do you not to play favorites, but who was your favorite assistant coach during the UNA game or the game in Atlanta? I know that's kind of unfair, but if you just had to pick one, who would it be?
I'm a passion guy, so
Yep.
it would have been Coach Flanigan.
Yeah. I here's the thing. I've already said, I'm sure you were listening during that part. There's something about Wes that you can tell that meant so much to him. And I think that has to do with his background as being an Auburn guy and his history here. And I think that can't go unnoticed. And whether it's whatever sport it is, I know there's sometimes we get worried about the good old boys club, about promoting Auburn people all the time and keeping them as our head coach and stuff. And I think sometimes it's important to have a change. Brian Harsons is a good example as of this moment. I think he's a good example. An outside force is probably a good choice. Pat Dye as well. But there's something about an Auburn guy selling Auburn, an Auburn guy, be in the face of your program. And I'd love to see Wes Flanigan someday in that role, but I wouldn't be mad if Stephen Pearl was either, because he's a little junior, Bruce out there with a little less screaming. I guess. I guess Bruce's voice at some point is just going to give out on him. I don't know how he does it.
Well, he's still got a good 10, 15 years in him. So, and we
So.
went and got him. We went and got him when he was in some trouble, and I think that he's going to. I've heard him say that how much that means to him. So I think we got Bruce for the long haul.
I think Bruce too sees the value of what's happened here is a place that was thirsting for successful basketball, not even championship level, but just relevant basketball, because we have a history of that, believe it or not. I know everybody talks about Charles Barkley, but it goes beyond that. And just it had been in the doldrums for so long. Just to see a guy, see the value in us and now reciprocating it is just it's a marriage made in heaven. And I just hope that nobody swoops in here and has enough money just forked over, because if there's the right amount of cash, you can't really blame the dude, I guess. But you ever see him leaving?
No, for what he built here, so where we were with Barbie, like to put in that had behind the scenes, the stuff, the effort he would have had to put in. Like, what he's built. Like I said, I think he really appreciates the university going out there, and then like a lot of times it's a fit. Like, watch what I'm telling you. Ryan Kelly's not going to work at LSU because it doesn't fit. He has to fake an accent. Um, like, that's not going to work. Hillary Clinton tried that when she was the first lady of Arkansas. Look up how they felt about it. But Bruce is an Auburn fit. You see him shirtless up there with Cam Newton. Like you said, man, it's just a match made in heaven. He just fits us. Our fan base fits him. I think it's a 10, 15-year deal.
I hope so. I really do. And I hope we're not having this discussion soon, sooner than that, if not longer than that, because I think he also sees the value of, we think of Sonny Smith, we think of Cliff Ellis, we think of Ralph Jordan, because he was a basketball coach for us at one point too. As names of our legends. And there's more than that. If we go to women's basketball, there's Joe Champy, but there's not been someone that has, outside of Charles Barkley, we're talking coach wise, that has just put their stamp and said, I am the face of Auburn basketball coaching wise yet. And when I say that, I have all the love and respect for what Coach Sonny Smith has done. I've interviewed him. He's just the most beautiful person ever. He's just the guy is just hilarious. I love him so much, but I think there's still room for the person to say, I am the Shug Jordan of basketball, and Bruce can have that if he wants it. So we'll see what happens. What else on your mind with basketball? You excited about this next game? Think we got it handled?
What was it? Murray State, right?
Murray State Racers. Sometimes they can be deadly.
Yeah, I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like we've had some tough games with them in the recent years.
Yep.
Yeah, the little bit, I mean, I don't know anything about any of these teams, until we play them. The little bit that I hear, they're similar to St. Louis in that they're a smaller team that rebounds really well. So I don't even know what really happened Saturday night as far as the rebounding. I think it's just a one-off.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to continue.
Was there something that you picked up on that we weren't doing? Were we not positioning well, or you think it's just a one-off?
Just a bad night, and they like their fan base definitely wanted that game. That was a big deal for them. It was a loud crowd. They were passionate. Their team played really hard. They hustled, and you're starting to see people try to do different things. So a lot of people are pulling their five out to the corner to pull Walker out there, trying to get him out of the paint and open that up. So, and Bruce will handle all that. We'll adjust. We'll be fine. Jabari, he hasn't been shooting the best percentage these last couple of games, but that three he hit, that was big. It was right on point. It was clutch.
Yeah.
I feel really good about it. If we can go, because the SEC is going to be a bloodbath. So if we can go like 12-6 or somewhere around there in conference play, and then it's just work Flanigan back in, which is going to take time, and just keep try to stay as healthy as we can, and just be hot. And
what do you think? Is Flanigan playing on Wednesday? There's rumors that he is.
Yeah, I think they'll try to work him in. It's just one of the things where you saw how long it took Purifoy, and then we closed. I don't think that what was his name, Berman or whatever. The walk on.
Yep.
I don't think he came out of the game in the final 5 or 6 minutes. Like, he closed the game Saturday night.
Yep.
So they trust him.
They do.
We just got a lot of bodies. We got a lot of bodies, and it's going to take time to work Flanigan in. So we'll see how all that goes. We're going to need it. I mean, there's the thing. I hate it, but somebody's going to get hurt like that. It's just the way it goes. So having this depth, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And for the first time, I don't want to sit here and say that, we won't hurt if someone does get hurt, but it does feel like at all positions we have someone just as talented, maybe not just as talented, but talented enough to where the drop off isn't going to be so bad. Now, if there becomes forgive me for the use of this word, pandemic of injuries, on the team, that's where it gets obviously a problem for any team. But yeah, I agree. There's going to be a injury at some point. There's going to be a illness at some point. There's going to be something that disrupts the makeup of the team again. But for comparing last year, point guard situation, remember when Justin Powell got going, then he got hurt, and then we got Sharif back from eligibility issues, and then he got hurt, and it was just like a revolving. And we had to force Allen Flanigan in at point guard, and that's why you saw him struggle and get a lot of flack from fans because he was being forced to do something that's not what he's not designed to do that. So I'm happy that he seems to be in a position where he can be in his role and stay there. And that's where you're going to see the Allen Flanigan that was on the draft boards at the beginning of the 2020 season. I'm excited for him.
Hey, you brought up Justin Powell. He said he went to Tennessee because he wanted to be in the most competitive environment. So I hope that's working out for you, bud.
Justin Powell. Listen, I love the dude when he was here. And I try real hard to not get too upset at people that leave, Bo. But I think there's some decisions that don't make sense, and I'm not referring to Bo on that. I'm referring to Justin, and I just don't see where he got the extra benefit from going to Tennessee. He's not starting, right? Is that correct? I'm not.
I'm seeing last I saw he's fight at 5-6 minutes a game, and it's just whatever. I'm not this kid. I'm not that's your decision. I don't know what's going on with you behind the scenes or whatever the situation is. But don't take shots. And he's just taking a couple like shots, and
it's a little bitterness.
Then you're not producing. So yeah, we're gonna say something then. Yeah. You already know about Auburn fans in basketball. It's coming at you, dude.
Auburn Twitter has reached a new level of just veracity with the memes and everything else. And I love it. Don't hear me when I say that, but there's a part of me that almost feels bad now for the opposing fan base. I'm like, good Lord, if we win this game, there's some fans that aren't ready to have their feelings hurt, and they're going to get their feelings hurt. It's just, and most of it's meant in good fun. And you wish people could see that. But boy, do some people get there, in the wad,
It's about because it's one thing when you're doing it to St. Louis or whatever, and these teams they haven't liked it, but it's going to be real interesting when we get into these LSU, Georgia, Bama's. And look, we're going to take some L's.
Yep.
And we're going to have to eat it.
Exactly. And that's my whole thing is, look, I dish it out because I can take it and bring it on in. It's fair game. If I'm going to dish it out, I got to be willing to take it. So just know, Auburn fans and Auburn Twitter, be ready. It's coming back because everybody's watching it.
It's going to go really hard.
But enjoy it. Here, let's end on this one here. You kind of said this. You said 12-6 is what you're thinking in record wise. Is that what you're 6 losses?
Yeah, that'd be just like my hope. That'd be kind of where I hope we land around 12-6.
So, who do you think is the biggest threat to beat Auburn this SEC play?
I've watched a couple of LSU games, and now they haven't played nearly the competition, but they play defense, man. They play. I mean, you think we play D? They got a defense. Now their offense is whatever, but it's just one of them deals where you're going to be 50, 60 points is going to be the ceiling. So that's going to be tough. And I don't like the time of that game because I don't feel like the crowd's going to be sold out just because of the time and everything. It's the first SEC game. I'm just worried about it. Obviously, Bama's trying to get good at basketball. And then we need to sweep Georgia. I hate losing to Georgia in anything. We lost last year. That's probably that's the maddest I've been at Bruce Pearl's when we lost to Georgia last year. I'm like, come on, man.
Look, and you don't even live in Georgia and you get upset about it. Think about me living here in Georgia. I got to hear it.
Dude, they're the worst. The Bama fans, it just seems like it because it's the numbers game. There's so many of them. Mm-hmm. And then like it's kind of at the point with them where it's like, all right, dude, how hard is it to be you? Like, but
stop
Georgia
fans,
fans
stop complaining.
Yeah. And then if there's ever a Bama fan that sees this clip, listen to me. You've got the best of everything. In 2015, Alabama had Kirby Smart as their D coordinator. They had Billy Napier as their wide receiver coach. They had Lane Kiffin as their offensive coordinator. They had Mel Tucker as their linebacker coach. They had Mario Cristobal as their offensive coach. Okay. Then that's on top of having the best players at every position. And you mean to tell me that we still, every time you come to Jordan Hare, we give it to you, and you still have to use the referees to beat us? Like, I don't know how. If you're a Bama fan, I don't know how you can do it. You guys are whack.
There's not a lot of thought process coming into that argument there. We all know that. It's there's not a lot of thought process there. All right, man. Well, thank you for calling in tonight. I appreciate hearing your perspectives always. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that last bit there.
Hey, War Eagle, man, Merry Christmas to everybody. Corey, Russell, everybody. I appreciate y'all's kind words, man.
All right. Thank you, sir. Merry Christmas to you.
Yes, sir.
All right. That was Dusty again. If you are a Booster Club member or if you are a E2C Network contributor, you can call in tonight. It's exclusive for you guys. We've been traditionally doing that on Monday nights, and we appreciate y'all's support. And that's how we like to reward some of y'all who can do that. And, usually our Wednesday night streams will open it up for everybody because we don't want to just make it exclusive to just anybody. To just one group of people. We want to try to give opportunities where we can. Speaking of which, as of this moment, there will be no Wednesday night live stream. Holiday preparations begin for myself and my wife, Jessica. So that will likely not happen. However, with traveling, with holiday crap, I was about to say crap. I wouldn't holiday stuff. There's going to probably come some opportunities to do some random live streams, some videos and things like that. So I hope you guys are subscribed along with that notification bell so you'll know when we do one of those. I'll try to give some heads up on social media or in the Booster Club if I think we're going to have time, but maybe just when I have a spare minute, if there's something big happening or something that's worthy of having a conversation about this week. But as of this moment, no scheduled Wednesday night live stream, but just stay tuned for some other content that may come. We have podcasts coming out. There's a football podcast coming out later this week and at least one basketball podcast this week. So you're not going to be without the content. All right, I'm going to go back to Blake's comment here. He says, don't leave my boy Green Jr. out of the mix. He's going to get better and better. Yes, he is. And here's the great thing about Wendell Green. He's been put on the bench, and I don't mean it that way. And he's flourishing. This is St. Louis game. He had 15 points, 3 for 6 from 3-point land, 8 assists. That your starting point guard is your sixth man. Just because you have so much other talent that you can't utilize all at the same time, he's having to come off the bench because we're getting a better start with him there. Let's see. How did he do against North Alabama? I'm trying to find him on here. Where did Wendell Green go? Did he play 12 points? He's got 6 assists again. So again, he's the point guard, the starting point guard. He just doesn't start. So the credit is due to Wendell Green. He's a key factor. That dish that he did when he juked the guy out, broke his ankles, and then flipped it out from underneath the basket out to 3-point to Laura Behrman. Clutch. Dusty, ESPN's matchup predictor is only giving Georgia 5.9% chance to beat us. Here's the problem, though. That's happened before in basketball, and they've still gotten at least one from us. I'm a little worried about that. And I think Dusty feels the same way. Michael Floyd in the house. What's up? Good to see you, buddy. This is I can't tell on the avatar on my screen. That's the Michael Floyd I know, right? Michael Floyd from Bruton, Alabama. That's you, sir. Give me confirmation because I'm having trouble seeing on my screen. Excuse me, if that's exactly you. But he's a good buddy too. Got to see him at the Atlanta game with Nebraska. It's always nice when you're with your Auburn family, but you get to see a familiar face within the Auburn family. So okay, we've touched on North Alabama. No, there's not a lot to talk about there outside of the Coach Stephen Pearl game. We've broken down the St. Louis game. Yes, that is Michael. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for being here tonight. And we looked a little bit ahead to Murray State. Don't overlook Murray State, folks. Do not overlook them. And you shouldn't look over anybody at this point. because everybody wants Auburn, wants a piece of Auburn. They want to tarnish the record. UConn's gave us our lone loss. Jabari Smith hits a 3 in the corner, which he had a really good look at in that game. This could be a different story. I think that would have put us down by 1 at that moment, which would have put us a better situation at the end of the game if you make your free throws, which is decent enough this year, but hasn't been outstanding like I would like it to be. I'm still going to nitpick at that area. So overall, a great week for Auburn basketball. 100% coaching records for 2 different head coaches. Bruce Pearl is back. Allen Flanigan is supposedly going to play this Wednesday. How much he plays is up in the air, and playing for that matter of fact. I know Coach Pearl is wanting to ease him back in, not just for his own health's sake, but also for his just the team's chemistry. Michael, if you want to call in, you'll have to do that on Wednesday nights, unfortunately. That's for the Booster Club members only tonight and the E2C Network Club members. But Wednesday nights, when we have a regular Wednesday night, no one this week, everybody can call in. Just an exclusive link for them tonight. But yeah, so that's the difference of what's going on tonight. But I'd love to hear from you, buddy. It's good to see you in person, but I'd love to hear your voice more often. So call in whenever you get the chance when it's open mic night. So we'll start calling it that. Trying to think if there's any rankings wise, just trying to cover all the aspects of Auburn basketball right now. By the way, women's basketball 6-game winning streak. I know they're probably not playing super great teams right now at this point in their non-conference schedule, but they're doing really well. In the first year stint for new head coach there. So I think that's a great thing there. Other thing is too, Auburn's up in the rankings. They're 12 in the coaches and in the AP poll, I believe it is. And then they have that one that most people recognize. I think it's the net rankings, where they're up to 9 in the top 10. Now, remember, rankings really don't matter in college basketball. It really matters, what your record is. And there's this, I had this discussion with somebody. It's not RPI so much anymore, but that's kind of what it is. That's what I'm going to call it. That matters. It's like a score you get based off quality wins, quality losses, and things like that. That's what's really going to matter. So it's exciting to talk about the rankings. I look at it kind of as recruiting rankings. It doesn't really matter outside of marketing. It really doesn't. I know that's upsetting for some of you to hear, but that's just the hard, cold truth. So really what's going to matter is quality wins and losses. I would call the UConn loss a quality loss at this point to see how we have to root for them the rest of the season. But I would call St. Louis, I think, would be a quality win for us, especially since it was on the road. We got one down there in the Atlanta's tournament. Not Loyola. The other one, I believe, was a quality win there. But we really got to maximize those opportunities that we have in SEC play. Quadrant wins. Thank you. I knew someone was going to help me out. Thank you so much. All right, I'll take this question here because we're kind of winding down our time. We're not going away just yet, but I'll take some of these other off-topic questions here. Kyle, didn't get to ask your opinion on the OC hire. Do you like the direction Harsin is trying to take the offense? Great question. And we did a live stream about that, right? I thought yes, we did. Anyway, we do some more discussion about it there. Here's what I'm happy about is that a guy that seems moldable, and when I say that, not that I don't want him to have his own choices, his own decisions, but I think a young guy is good for where this program is at. Someone that might be there for a little while, never been a OC before. I know that's scary for a lot of people, but it worked out for us in Rhett for the most part. Who's to say it can't happen here? You're hearing that conversation a lot of those comparisons. And I think that's a very, for the most part, apt description for what's going on here. And I think more and more is going to be turned over time. What you will have is Coach Harsin's stamp on not only the program, but now the offense. And it's all on him now. So there will be no questions. And listen, I know this is a little bit, kind of, you all know that I'm a big Gus Malzahn fan. I'm a big defender of his, and I know that's not a big popular thing to be, but I hope that we're just as critical if there are struggles with Coach Harsin as we were with Malzahn, because this is one of those times where it's all on him. There's more on him than traditionally you would put on a head coach. I hope we can all be fair and even keeled about that. Celebrate and praise him when he does things right, and I believe he's going to do things right. But I hope that we can be very even keeled about that. There's a certain level of that I think needs to return to us as Auburn fans, and there's most of us are that way, but there's a vocal large portion out there that's really kind of sullied what we try to do as Auburn people here. All right, we'll do a couple things here. A lot of you guys are wishing Merry Christmas. We're going to wrap up here in just a second. Get last minute comments and questions in if you want them. Check out some of the links in the description. If you want to be a Booster Club member, links down there. $1 a month's all it takes over on Patreon. If you want to just stay here on YouTube, you can do that here by becoming a channel member. It's only the $1 a month option. There's PayPal for one-time donations as I smack the thing around. There's our TeePublic store. There's all kinds of ways that you can help support our content, keep it coming out. But you can also smash that like button if you haven't, and tell somebody about this show, the podcast network. Invite them to be part of our little family within the Auburn family. Thank you guys so much for being a part of this. And while this sounds like we're going to be done for the year, we're not doing anymore. I appreciate all the kind words and the Merry Christmases, not just to myself, but to each and every one of you. You guys are the best little family within the Auburn family because of the love that you show for each other. And I think that's, honestly why I and the other contributors to this network do this type of thing, because that's what we want, is for this to be a great representative of what it means to be part of the Auburn family. Thank you guys for hanging out with me and talking some basketball tonight. Stay tuned this week. We'll have some more content, whether it be live streams or videos for you to check out. If you're not subscribed, do that as well. Until I talk to you all again, though, War Eagle, let's get another W on Wednesday night.